going to take a look at a really old bulk tank. It's always surprised me how bulk tanks are able to just keep hammering basically day in and day out. I mean, as long as there's milk in the tank, the compressor's on standby or running. And they just keep going. So you'll see this one that I'm talking about, like almost all of the paint is rusted off of every component on the thing. We've replaced various components over the years, but I think this one still has a compressor that's, I don't know, a good 30 years old on it, and still working fine, which is just remarkable. So anyway, that's what we're going to go take a look at, and hopefully it's just something simple, maybe a contactor. As you can see, the farmer in question milks jerseys. Very nice looking animals. We've arrived on scene, and I guess we'll just go see what's up. Is that a goose? I'm gonna have to ask about that. Hey, doggy. Hey. Okay. Ooh, that doesn't look good. So this is the condensing fan. I see a very oily spot down here. Looks like that's been fixed once before, but I'm pretty sure this is not normally sitting on Kitty Wumpus. Yeah, this bracket broke. So I'd be surprised if there's any refrigerant left in the system. That line is kinked. That's not good. So this is where that line set goes through the wall. This is compressor 1. Just look how rusted everything is. Looks like it's been leaking down there too. There's a lot of oil right there. So unfortunately, I don't really think it's gonna be something very simple. Frankly, I don't know if this compressor still runs. This one. That doesn't run. So I think they just use this one circuit. So maybe it'll be fine. Pretty sure the system is R22. Well, that's good. Sounds like the compressor runs when that kicks in. I need to see if there's any liquid. PSI. That's not very much. So yeah, we have a damaged pipe and really bad leak in the system that we gotta get figured out. So we're gonna locate the leaks, fix the leaks. I'm guessing it's just out there where the thing broke off the wall. So I was looking at this a little more. This was never supposed to be angled. You can see it's supposed to be flat all the way across there. This screw pulled out of here, and it was originally mounted with these legs into this chunk of 2x4, which those let go. Something maybe pushed it in this corner, but we got to get this thing lifted back up and reattached to the building. I don't know if it all leaked out up there where it kinked really bad, or if it leaked out somewhere else, maybe down here, because a lot of torque. I mean, this thing's basically hanging on this line right now, so I think it might have torqued and cracked something in here. It's too bad. But yeah, so we're gonna try to get this thing lifted up. Maybe we'll set it on something. So I decided it'd be better to check for leaks, find them, which, yeah, there's definitely some kind of leak here, so we'll have to soap that down. But if we find all of our leaks first, before we move this thing, we might be able to recover the refrigerant that's left in it. I don't know. I think it maybe didn't actually break up here, but it really kinked off that 1/2 inch line. that's our big leak. Doesn't look too bad on this end. Don't see any oil. If there are any oily spots, then we'd want to check those. It's mostly just right there. So let's go look inside. Honestly, I think that we're okay down there. Yeah, I think it's mostly just outside where it shifted and broke off. So kind of done with the general leak inspection. There's a couple spots in here that look suspicious, but they don't really seem to be actually leaking very much refrigerant, if any. It's mostly just outside where that thing shifted and broke. So we're gonna go out there and use a little soap so we can pinpoint exactly where that's leaking. Oh yeah, that's a really big leak. Yeah, there's like a crack right there. In fact, I can see the crack. I'll see if I can take a picture of that. Or a video on my phone camera. It's a little better at catching the small stuff. So yeah, here's a better look at that spot where it's leaking. You can see the bubbles just pushing out. If I blow it off, you can actually see the crack. See that crack? There's an actual crack right there. That's what we're gonna have to braze shut. It's kind of in a bad spot with this tin on the end of the tubing there. And then of course the kink that we have up there, we'll have to straighten that out and maybe cut that section depending on how bad the kink is. So we've now got this thing recovering. We're gonna do a little more leak checking while it's recovering. And then once it's done recovering, we'll go outside and actually move that thing up. Oh, this has actually got a little bit of frost accumulation. Did you see that? Because there must be a little bit of liquid sitting out here because it's colder out here. So it's actually evaporating now and going inside into the recovery machine. What are you guys looking at? Cows are funny. So I was just talking to the farmer who's now in charge. Turns out that his dad actually got really bad pneumonia and died just like a month ago. So it's pretty sad because now the owner's dropped down to the boy and he's the one in charge. So I guess I'm gonna have to change the name on the building, but he's pretty sad because it was not that long ago and very unexpected. His dad was only 65. So anyway, when we got it patched up, I just re-anchored it to there and then that screw up there, and then we added this random piece of strap that we had on the ground to here. And I guess I asked him, I was like, man, it seems like a cow ran through here. And he said, yeah, a steer ran through twice and pushed it. So that's what caused the problem. Looks like there is a hairline fracture starting right there, so we're gonna have to pull out this section of copper in addition to fixing that leak down there. So we're gonna move right ahead on those two items because it's starting to rain a little bit. So we just got this clean, so that we'll have a clean spot to make our connection. It's always good to clean it first so that when you cut it, you're not getting impurities into the system. So we'll go inside, pull that piece out. Oh, that might not be very easy. So it's actually a pretty thick wall. Got it pulled out. Gonna swage the other end first. So here we go, we're gonna swage this. Deburr it, drop your swaging tool in, make sure your pipe is straight. There we go, beautiful. Now I'll get this poked through. Alright, there we go. We are ready to braze that connection. We're actually going to braze outside first because it's beginning to rain. Now we can go braze inside and get the vacuum pump going. Lunch break while we wait for this to back down. Also gonna decide if we want to convert this to a different refrigerant since all but 6 ounces was gone. So vacuum pump's still running. We're thinking that we're gonna convert it over from R22 to new 22. That conversion would be a lot cheaper for them because R22 is really expensive and scarce. So converting it is going to be better in the long run, especially if the system does have a little bit of leakage, then it's not as big a deal to have to top it off. So nice, so you can see it pulled down to 373 microns, which is perfect because we're using the deep vacuum method to ensure there's no leaks and no moisture, and that just pulls it down below 500 microns. We're now going to shut it off and let it hold for 7 minutes, and if it maintains below 1,000 microns, we know we're good to go. So I just finished marking the unit. It's gonna be new 22, and you always want to mark it in like several locations. Filter dryer is a good spot, on top of the compressor in this case because there's no words left. And you can see we held at our 620 microns, so we're going to be good to go for adding refrigerant back into this thing, which is what we're going to do next. We are just starting to add refrigerant. I think I'm actually going to start adding up here. This is not very good to add on that line where I'm adding. Just going to be safer for the system if I move everything up here. So I had to turn the agitator on and control over there. So now it's actually letting refrigerant flow, and it'll actually cool it down now. But it took me a couple minutes to figure out what was going on. Oh yeah, make sure we get enough refrigerant into the system. So I'll check back when I've got the pressures proper, show you what that looks like. Might take me a few minutes to get it adjusted right. Also, like, try to read the information off this thing. It's literally crust. Like, there's nothing left, so as far as amount of refrigerant, we have no idea. So just kind of measure and figure out roughly what the system wants to have in it, and that's gonna be how it is. I don't even think there's a sight glass. Yeah, there's not even a sight glass on this system. So we're gonna have to go based entirely on pressures. You see it settled out around 31 degrees vapor saturation temperature. Went outside, felt down the coil to see how much of it is actually getting used, dissipating heat, and it's about 2/3 of the coil that's warm to the touch, and then the last few loops are cold, and our line coming in, well, cool I should say. Our line coming in, I'm pretty sure is supplied with liquid. Then you can see our superheat about a foot away from the compressor. It's 13, so we don't want to add any more because we don't want that number to go any lower than that. We have this suction line accumulator. That's a really good protection against any liquid eventually getting to the compressor, because it'll drop down here and have to evaporate. Before the system will actually take it into the compressor, it has to be a vapor, which is why this thing is here. So if any liquid drops down, it'll fall on the bottom of this and won't be able to get up to here unless you grossly overcharge the system, like really bad. So yeah, that pretty much concludes our service call. Hopefully we can get out here without getting stuck because it's really muddy. I mean, it wasn't muddy when we got here, but now it's very muddy. Okay, so yeah, made it out of there. Bye, dog. Anyway, it was really muddy. Almost did not make it out. That's why I stopped the video, because I was concerned that I was gonna get stuck, so I needed to focus everything on driving. But yeah, that pretty much concludes today's service call. So really the primary problem was just that the thing was out of refrigerant. I mean, pretty much out. There was like 6 ounces that we recovered, which is almost nothing. So yeah, in any case, hope that you enjoyed the video, and talk to you later.